what I think about the situation of Mike Pence, well, it it's curious. The situation of Mike Pence, the whole idea of January 6th, they were saying hang Mike Pence. Didn't make sense to me. I didn't hear it live when I was watching it. I did not hear any chance of hang Mike Pence. Not at all. Not even a little tittle of it. Um, I believe that Mike Pence believes they said it, or even he maybe even heard people say it. And that's, as far as a crowd, you can get a government entity, FBI, CIA. You can get the Tea Party or Black Lives Matter or Antifa in a crowd. How do you destroy the protest? Where you get violent. That is the quickest way to destroy the authenticity, the moral code of a protest. You get violent. Um, and in this situation, on January 6th, it's plausible that they would want to get violent to, of course, stop the steal. It's plausible, absolutely. Um, as far as hanging Mike Pence, I think that this is what I truly think about January 6th. January 6th, I believe that maybe Antifa, maybe some other government organization, maybe or not some other government organization. Well, read between the lines. May have started hang Mike Pence, but if you think about it, if Mike Pence didn't certify the election when they were saying it, why wouldn't they say Mike Pence don't certify the election? Why would they say hang Mike Pence before he even certified it? Almost guaranteeing he's going to certify it. They want to hang me. Okay, I'm going to certify it and run the cover. It doesn't make any sense. Um, I think that maybe people in the crowd again, they may have said it, and Mike Pence got word that they said it, or even probably he could have heard it. I would love to talk to Mike Pence about his day, about what happened, the events. Um, as far as Mike Pence, he told that story. It's a tough story to tell. It doesn't make you look like a knight in shining armor to a lot of people, to secular world in politics. When you say, well, I don't go one on one with women in my job because I made a promise to my wife that I wouldn't. Because women, I hear, are a sucker for power. I'm saying that. Women sometimes just bypass looks and goes with a man that has a lot of power or money. And Mike Pence arguably had a lot of power in his political career, at the height of it at least. And of course, his sacrifice of saying, well, politically, I'm not going to go one on one with with a government official or a representative, a lobbyist, something. I'm not going one on one on a dinner date with them because of the temptation. I made a promise to respect my marriage. That was cool to me. That sounded really cool to me. That he honors his marriage. He said that some time before, and I truly believe, even though I'm not the biggest Mike Pence fan, that I truly, in the heart of hearts, believe on January 6th that he uh, looked at his faith. What should I do? Should I certify or should I not certify? I think probably if Mike Pence would have not certified, then he would be right now in court. That he would be part of the court hearings and that. But Regardless of that, we'll set that aside. Do I think that Mike Pence felt in his faith he had enough evidence that he could not certify an election? I don't think that Mike Pence had in his mind enough evidence at that time. I think don't get me wrong, I think there's plenty of evidence that's a illegitimate election. Okay, I think there's plenty of evidence, but I do believe that Mike Pence didn't, in his world, feel that there was enough, or that he seen it or knew it, and he could stand on it as truth. I do believe that Mike Pence fears our Heavenly Father. I think he did what is right in his faith and certified January 6th. On January 6th, I saw one of the reports live, and of course, I believe the report I was given, it was either live or a day after. The report I was given was that the cops at the state capitol were too nice. On January 6th, I saw little to no violence. That I saw the violence at the door, that they broke down the front door, that they somehow broke their way into it. Now that, absolutely, but violence to cops, I personally did not see live on January 6th. He, the spokesman on MSNBC had a picture of a cop walking an elderly woman down the stairs, the state capitol stairs, or behind the protest that was going into the building. He also showed me on his program that people were in there asking for cops, or at least one or two people, not the one in the main congressional room. I'm not talking about the horn man, but a guy in the hallway just told a cop, "Oh, will you take a picture of me for my social media?" Telling the cop, and he gladly did. The visuals that I saw of January 6th were peaceful, and of course, over time, they got rather violent, and I authentically didn't believe them all the way through. It's like they kept playing it over and over and over again for us to believe it was really bloodshed and violence. And I think that I think that the cop that killed a protester, I believe it was an accident and it was manslaughter. Should he get time for it? Um, well, anyway, I'm not trying to be judged, but he accidentally discharged his weapon to a female protester and killed her on January 6th. Um, it looked bad for one side that a protester was dead, and they really quite couldn't explain it. I do uh, know that there was, or I believe there was six or more suicides from state capitol police. Suicides. Um, why is that? You're going to jump to assumptions, but why are six state capitol police committing suicide since January 6th? Um, that should be looked into, right? Uh, I, uh, I didn't really believe the media. They showed me a picture. I wish I'm gonna go look for it right now. President Donald J. Trump has done some wonderful things for this nation. just off the top of my head, he foresaw the border crisis, and he indeed would want to build the wall. He got hundreds of miles done of the wall, but of course he couldn't get funding. He couldn't get the $6 billion that he asked Congress for to finish the wall. Of course, Obama got what was it, $800 billion, close to $1 trillion for shovel-ready jobs. And later he would remark, well, those jobs weren't so shovel-ready after all. Um, uh, you see, he foresaw the border crisis, and like right now in New York and different big cities, the illegal immigrants are piling up. So what do we do? Um I, of course, want our borders guarded only in points of entry that sojourners would come in and get refuge to America. But this open border policy has caused child sex slavery. It's caused rampant drugs coming across fentanyl. People are dying. They say that I think it's like 2,000 people a week are dying due to fentanyl overdoses. It's reported per Forbes magazine, I believe, uh, during the height of the mass shootings in 2021, that 47,000 people died due to mass shootings. With that said, um, I think that there is a greater problem than guns. That when we look at guns, it's akin to red, white, and blue. The blood shed to be wholly white, and us being blue at the bloodshed. That with freedoms, there's a cost. There's a cost to freedoms, and you're gonna have people get killed with guns. That's the nature of freedom. Now, 47,000 people at the height, other years that were lower, during 2021, it was the height of it. But every year, overdoses, most of them laced with fentanyl, are 100,000 a year, 100,000 deaths. Look at the time spent talking about drug use and deliverance from drug use or guns. Who knows the terrorists that are coming in and what they're planning next on America with the borders unchecked. And that's just off the top of your head. And you got gas. Gas prices were at one point $1 something, and Trump would indeed ensure low gas prices. And of course, he did wonders for our economy before the Rona, the COVID-19 came into America. Our economy was doing mighty well. A lot of journalists say that, well, Trump spent trillions over budget. And I think that's intellectually dishonest, and they don't even mention that we're in a pandemic and he paid out a lot of money to Americans all across the nation. Now, I believe that my First Amendment rights and my right to privacy and my right to assemble was not afforded to me from somewhere around 2005. Is it? So I still today am not able to exercise my constitutional rights online, freedom of speech, unless it's cam to cam, and that is heavily monitored. If you face persecution online and it getting stiffer, if your constitutional rights of free speech are abridged, taken away, if your right to privacy, your right to assemble is taken away, My advice is to not blow up in anger. My advice is to pray to God, seek God, read the Bible. Um, I think that they trap you and you slowly get lonely for touch and for companionship, right? So you're ever navigated or moved to go to cams where a lot of men are massaging themselves, but it's the only opportunity you get to talk to people. And it seems that it only tries to get you in trouble. It tries to exacerbate the data that it knows already about you. It tries to entrap you with what it knows about your data. My advice, if you're going through it, make it about God. When you go on and you're missing companionship, you just want to talk, and you go to Cam to Cam, if you're trapped to do that, try to love others. You can get infuriated because all they do is touch themselves for the most part and don't want anything to do with friendship. You get once in a while, you get a person that's interested in talking and talk about God and try to bless others. But endure it. One thing you know, with heavy persecution comes heavy blessings. And enduring the persecution is more than worth it on that morning, that daylight that comes, that blessing that you discover you have. With that said, um, Donald J. Trump. Now, I believe in my hearts and hearts it was stolen because I entered the political process around 2008, 2009, and I went against Obama, his politics, his fundamental change of America, which indeed America is a republic, and a republic is a nation built on law, congressional and constitutional law. So a fundamental change of congressional and constitutional law is an eye opener. That when your constitutional rights are taken away from you, then you can scream that this is an illegitimate election of the 2016 presidential election. With that said, I do hold that paradigm to be true in myself. Now, everyone has a lens of what happened that day and how they view it, and I also have mine. As far as Donald J. Trump, I do believe that he was an architect of Stop the Steal. I do believe that he thinks he was wronged. I think we were wronged. I think that he was used to fighting everything, fighting to be in politics, fighting everything, that intelligently it was, when do you stop, right? When do you make the intelligent decision to stop? When is it? You're so used to fighting, you just keep fighting and fighting. And what other choice does he have now but to fight? As far as Stop the Steal, many people takes that differently. Is it a physical Stop the Steal? Is it a protest Stop the Steal? I think that's unique to everyone, and you can only get into Trump's mind. But in my belief, I believe, in my own situation, I was angry at God for my constitutional rights being taken away and government. Very angry. And I wanted nothing more than to find a wife and to be happily married, my heart's desire since when I was young. When my constitutional rights of free speech got taken away from me, that seemed to shut down any chance of me having a personal life, an intimate life with a woman. So I was very upset. I went shopping and I was upset, but I don't believe I did anything criminal, but I agree that I was mad, even mad at God. Now, there's two lenses on how you can see things. There's a lens how God sees things, and there's a lens how man sees things. Now, in man's eyes, I did nothing wrong. I mean, not at all. If anything, I was shopping, standing in line, and I was assaulted by a cop. He said I was trespassing and just grabs me up, and I moved my arm 3 inches, and he wants to arrest me for trespassing. Later, they would charge me for drunk and disorderly and assault to a police officer that I assaulted him. Now, in one lens, God can say, Kevin, you had unrighteous anger toward me when that happened. I wasn't really pleased. He could say that. And through his lens, I have to be humble. Like, God, yes, I wasn't loving my neighbor as I ought to in that moment. But when it comes to man, I broke no law. I was shopping at Kroger. Now, knowing my treatment and how I was treated, I can understand Trump wanting to do all he can to be in power. There's a lot of people depend on him, just like there's a lot of people depend on the Democrats. Do I think Trump is guilty of anything? I think that we've had countless presidents that were Ernie McCrackens, and even the best of them, that when they become president, they have it made. Now, I'm not trying to belittle Trump at all. That it was a privileged office, right? That it came with a lot of perks. But I think Trump has been heavily crucified in the media. And I think that no one in American history, not a president in American history, has ever been crucified like Trump in the media 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that was when he was president. With that said, I do believe technically that Trump may be guilty of some things. Most people are. But I think it's akin to a starving child stealing bread. I really do. When you count the cost of the circumstances and the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week news media that was anti-Trump and very biased and unethical and unconstitutional. Now, the thing is, right now, are the Democrats breaking the law? Well, right now, supposedly, that you're not supposed to have election interference. You're supposed to have lawyer client privileges, right? That you're not supposed to, a lawyer can't tell on his client. And it seems that for some reason, they're bypassing all of the typical standard law. And I don't really understand it, but I do have a plea. I say, please, Democrat Party, please. Trump may not be perfect. He may not be perfect, absolutely. But please, let's peacefully relegate this. Drop the charges. He has half America, probably more, behind him. Please, let's reason and come to a conclusion. We don't want this tit for tat, right? That you guys get somebody in and it's all blood for them and no one has fun being president. That God said that man takes from your finest vineyards if you have a king. He takes from the wealth of the land and gives to his friends. He would take from your fields, your vineyards, your olive groves, and he would give them to his servants. King James, 1 Samuel, of course, chapter 8, verse 14. Always been true from George Washington to Lincoln to Trump to Obama. All of them has taken from the finest vineyards, have taken from the wealth of the land and given to their friends. That's why everyone wants to be president. But nowadays, it seems like they will maybe continue witch hunts because they seem mighty effective. I disagree with the district attorneys that, of course, 95% or plus more all Democrat. These big jurisdictions with high populations are uh, mainly Democrat. That I do have a problem with them interfering with the presidential election. I think it's unconstitutional. But I pray that both sides would reason. So to sum it up, do I think Trump was perfect? No. I think he was doing what he thought he had to do. He might have been unethical, but again, I think it was like a starving kid stealing bread. There's some very important scriptures when dealing with politics and government. Uh, God institutes governments, and you're subject to them. Do not repay evil with evil. Try to do what is right in the eyes of your neighbors. Agree with your adversary when ye art in the way, before uh, he take you to the judge deliver you to the officer cast you in prison. Hoping when we're all done with this that me and God are friends. I don't know how you're be friends with God, but I think you just do what he says and you laugh at his jokes or something.